What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at the difference between like how our position change our strategy based on the board texture. So let's start at 20 big blinds. So I have a question for you. The board is Jack 7-5. Okay. You're under the gun. Are you range betting?
No.
Okay.
Primarily, like 85% or better.
Well, time to commit.
Sure.
Like that?
Yes, yes. It is.
Range bet
It
or
is-
no?
can be. It can be a range bet, right?
Yeah.
It can be
So
a range check as well, but then
yeah, I was thinking about the same thing. Sometimes I'm betting, sometimes I'm checking. Yeah.
so which one do you pick here? Are you using a mixed strategy here?
Yeah, mixed.
Okay,
50-50.
so you're not range betting. Right. Andy,
Does it depend who you're playing against, Louis?
no,
Like for
this is under the gun versus big blind, 20 big blind effective. Jack 7-5. Are you range betting or not? That's the question.
I'm a no because there's two key cards for the big blind and it's a flush draw board, so no.
Okay, Arturas, are you range betting or not? Arturas is range betting. All right. What about from the button? Do you think our strategy
Like
is
it.
different on Jack 7-5 from the button? Mike, are you range betting?
Um, I'd feel like we can range bet a bit more.
Steve?
I'll say yes then.
Nope. 66%. So 85
Wow.
or better and less 60 here.
Bogdan, are you range betting?
From the button, yes.
Andy?
Yeah, I think it's a mix.
All right. Well, let's have a quick look at how our strategy changed based on those factors, based on the position. So
That's
first off,
interesting.
this is gonna be the EP strategy at 20 big blinds. So first thing we want to kind of pay attention to is it's using the bigger size most of the time. And it is betting any two cards.
Yeah. Mm.
All right. So if you said mix, not good. Now from the low jack, just 2 seats away. So very similar range, very similar kind of position, but just a little bit wider. Now you're, as we see, we're mixing already 15% checks. And then we're using big bets as well, but we're starting to use the bigger, even bigger, like 75%. Was that a thing here? Yeah, not really, right? But here, it kind of is, right? So let's see. The big bets here are going to be a little bit of everything, but mostly the jack. That's what I see. Whereas here, big bets were just like over pairs, right? And then it's just using the 55% for everything. Now let's look at the button strategy on Jack 7-5. Right, so as we see here, there's a very, very big discrepancy between when you're EP, range bet, big, and then when you're on the button, you're actually checking half of the time, and then you don't ever use the big size. It's just like half pot or small, right? And then we end up checking a ton from the button. So our strategy is changing a lot based on position, even at 20 big blinds. Right, question number 2 for you guys. Okay, the board is ace of spades, 3 of spades, deuce of hearts. 1, 2, 3, basically. Are we range betting? From EP?
From UTG?
Yeah.
No, I'll say UTG, no, we're not range betting.
Alright? Next. Pete. Range bet or no? Peter? Peter's busy. Is he?
On ace 2-3.
Yeah.
20 big blinds. EP. No.
Arthur,
Is it a range bet on ace deuce three?
I'm asking you. That's the
Yes,
question.
it is.
Okay, from EP?
From
Alright.
EP, ace deuce three, of course.
Alright? Andy?
I think the 3 and the 2, the big blind misses, so the ace is good for us, so yes.
Okay. Bogdan?
Same here. Same here. Yes.
Okay, Thomas, you can apply. You want? Anyone else?
Yes, I'm range betting as well.
Alright. What about from the button? Are you guys range betting from the button?
I'm gonna say no again. But I would in game. That's the thing. I think I just always range bet every ace board, but I know you can't. I'm just gonna say no again.
Oh my goodness. See?
I'm trying to be an AI.
I don't know what's best here, Mike, the exploits or the GTO or what? Or check
Nope.
balance? Pete, you say what?
Nope.
No range bet. Okay. Andy,
No.
what am I doing?
In game I'm betting, but
You don't think it's a range bet?
probably not. But in game I'm betting there.
You guys are betting in game, but you say it's not a range bet. Interesting. Bogdan,
It sure is, bro. I have aces in my range.
so you bet? then-
Definitely.
Arthur, range bet button?
Of course, I bet. Range bet.
Okay.
Louis, are you defining a range bet as 90% betting or 80%, something like that?
How about 99%?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Thomas, are you range betting this spot?
Yes, 1.5 every time.
Okay. Let's have a look. So from EP, it is a range bet, right? 1% checking.
Yeah.
And then from the low jack, it is a range bet, 2% checking. What's the difference here? We seem to use the big size a little bit more. Are we? So 30, 40. So it's just small bets, right? And then just a little bit of bigger size. And then here, oh, okay. So we use the later the position, kind of sizing up, right? Using more like alpha. And then from the button, still a range bet. Okay. So on a A-side texture, it doesn't change whether like our position change. What is changing is like the bet sizes, right? So button, we just range bet a little bit smaller. EP, we range bet a little bit smaller as well. And then low jack, we actually range bet, but sizing up a little.
Would you say the reasoning for 20 big blinds this is a range bet because there's a lot of jams coming in from the other positions? Like
Well,
big,
if
is that
he
why?
was, well, against the button he is, but he's not gonna like start to flick all of his aces in against under the gun, right?
Yeah.
So for the big blind, like you could say that, but against like under the gun, I don't think so. Like he is not jamming so many aces. He is some, but almost none, right? So you can't say that about like EP, but it would make sense
Okay.
against late position. But
Yeah,
here,
the button, because he'll be jamming ace two offsuit from the big blind if the button raises.
yeah, it's
I know
gonna, yeah,
things
it's
like
gonna
that.
be, yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
okay.
So what about the board like? Okay, well, actually, let's just explore from here. So let's look at a board like 8-4 deuce with a flush draw. So this is gonna be our strategy from EP, 25% checking, just small bet. Right? And then from the low jack, we check even more. Start to check more often, 8 high. And then we're using the big size again a little bit more often. Even bigger, a little bit more. And then from the button, our checking range goes up and up and up. And then when we bet, like a lot of small betting, right? So again, like we seem to be sizing up from the low jack more than the other positions, right? So it's just like using the bigger size a little bit more. And then I think it has to do with like, we want to have the tightest possible range with the board coverage because EP doesn't have all the eight, but the low jack does. So I think that allows them to bet big more often. So I think that's what's going on here. So, all right, let's see another board. Queen 5 deuce. So Queen 5 deuce, very static board, right? Very similar to ace deuce 3, kind of, right? Well, those boards are bet kind of very frequently. And then the strategy doesn't really change based on position here. Like we see here, oops, and the low jack, the big blind, and then Queen 5 deuce, was it? Yeah. So low jack checking only 9%, starting to use a little bit more of the big size, but roughly very similar, right? Almost a range bet. And then the button. Button is actually checking back 35% of the time here and only using a small size. So on this type of board, our strategy really changes a lot, whether we're EP, MP, or late position. A lot more checking from late position. Not really any big bets here, like we're not really sizing up, but starts to be like kind of a small fraction of the strategy. Anyway, so
So not to elaborate too much on this board texture, but is the reason on the button doesn't bet too frequent because we can still get check raise from the big blind when we bet small? Like he can just min click back, which puts us in a tough spot.
I think
We have
it's
less
just
queens.
a question of our range is a lot wider. And then there's a lot in it that doesn't really connect with this texture. There's also like the natural checks. For example, like a Queen 5 deuce, like you're gonna have like, you don't want to bloat the pot with pocket jacks, right? You don't want to like
Yes.
bloat the pot with 10, So like the usual suspects are gonna be checking a lot. And then you have like all those ace highs here that you don't have from EP that are kind of forced, to check, ace high, right? And then you have like what you don't have from EP here, like EP doesn't have pair of deuces, right? Doesn't have much pair of fives, right? So the button has to check those as well. So a wider range, more marginal hands that don't want to put money in the pot. To me, that's the difference here,
Okay.
right? So I was thinking, like I was looking at the board. So this is against EP. So EP versus big blind, 20 big blinds deep, only checking 10% of the texture, right? So very frequent bet. And then we check only on like those kind of texture, like 7-6-5 rainbow, ace king king rainbow, ace queen queen rainbow, king 7-7, 8-6-6. So these are the texture that EP checks on, right? Like 3 low connected or like eye paired type of spot, right? Versus the low jack. You see the low jack's already checking twice more often, and then kind of the same usual suspects, like 3 to a straight, right? 3 low, but already like you see like ace queen queen. And you see lower boards that you didn't really see from under the gun, right? Low, like 5 high. And then we even have some ace high, ace 6-6. Ace jack jack, the jack starts to appear, right? So king 3-3. I don't think we do much checking king 3-3 from EP. We don't check many king high boards, right? So that's already a pretty big difference, right? 8-6-5 rainbow, ace jack jack. So a lot of checking on those type of textures. And then the closer you get to the button, on the button, we're actually like checking now 30%, right? And it seems to be like whenever the key card is paired for the big blind, we do a lot of checking. But then you see already like king jack jack. King jack jack, don't think you do much checking from the other positions. So those low boards, jack 4-4. So we look at jack 7-5, like I think that's the first one we looked at, right? Strategy changes a lot. This. King queen 5 with a flush draw, right? From EP, checking 20% of the time, betting big a lot. From MP, 25% checking, kind of a similar strategy, right? But the difference again is we use bigger sizes more often here. Low jack seems to be like using bigger sizes a little bit more often at this tag depth, right? And then from the button checking almost 50% of the time. Never really using big, but a little bit, right? A really wide range. So our strategy shifts a lot, right? 20% checking, 43% checking. So, and honestly, personally, I would approach this board very similarly, whether I'd be under the gun or the button. I would disrespect the big blind and just see bet range here. But yeah, guess
I was just about to say that, like these boards, it doesn't matter what position I play, I'm just, c betting 33% all the time. Doesn't matter. Like I'm not even considering checking on this board texture.
Yeah, but there's a little bit more nuances to it, right? So like if you're playing against like weaker opponents, like it's a great spot to be like just range betting. But if villain is gonna be like very aggressive with you, check raising a lot and pulling moves on you, you need a little bit more balance, right?
Yeah. No, I get that. I just when I see a king on the flop, it's my board.
Yeah.
That's how I've been approaching it. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. I'm with you on that. So there's room for improvement, right?
Yeah,
We don't
definitely.
we don't want to be betting too much with jacks, with tens, with some of our ace size that don't have like straight flush connection. So yeah,
I
the
guess
the worst
I
we
guess it's more of the 20 big blinds thing because maybe does it change based on 40 big blinds or 50, 60 big blinds how we range bet on these types of boards as well?
of
Or is it going
course
to be very similar?
very different. It can be very different.
Yeah.
So low jack, yeah, and then all right, now if we look at a board like 8-6 deuce with a flush draw. So EP here checking 33%, betting big kind of frequently, right? From the low jack, kind of checking a little bit more, right? And then using a little bit of the bigger sizes, right? Like here, I'd definitely make a mistake with pocket nines here. I think I would go more around pot size here rather than half pot with my pocket nines because my mind, I don't want to see a turn, and if I like, it's very likely that my hand is best right now, and then I want to get paid if I have the best hand, and then it's very likely that the turn will bring a card that is going to kill my action. So I want to do the betting here and now, but as we see here, not really a thing from EP. But the later the position you're sitting in, the more of a thing it becomes. Your range is wider as well. Also, like here, we have a better density of 8, right? So we can kind of size up a little bit more often. And then from the button, so we go from like 33% checking to 46% checking. The big bets are not a thing. Look at that. Just a smooth, small bet. Well, I'll pot, right? But still, for me, like I would blast this board if I had pocket nines or pocket tens. And then you see here, it's just wants to go half pot. So that's that. A lot of checking with like our ace size, those that don't need to bet, right? And then you got all those sixes in your range that want to check a lot. The deuce, we don't have any, but still. So there is a pretty big difference in strategy when it goes to like the position, and then we can see like the textures, right? But still, like the button is checking back quite a lot here. Right. Now I wanted to look at a similar exercise, but at 100 big blind. So let's have a look. So raise, call. Then we have a board of ace, 3 deuce. And now, question for you guys. Are we range betting from EP on ace, 3 deuce at 100 big blinds effective? Probably not, right? Or are we? Say side board, EP versus big blind. So, are we range betting? Also, why are we in the reports? There we go. Ooh. So definitely not a range bet. Ace, deuce, 3 from EP, right? And then if I just go like this, it's gonna work, maybe. So only small bet, majority check, right? And then we're playing it from the low jack. Ace, 3 deuce. From the low jack, we're gonna have very similar strategy, right? almost identical. And let's see, from the button. Ace, three deuce. So from the button, we're actually betting quite a lot more often than we would from EP. Which is interesting. Usually it's kind of the other way around, right?
Yeah, I think because both our ranges are wide, their defending range is just as wide as our raising range. So maybe that's why. It allows us to bet more. Or is it because we got a lot of two pairs as well? Like not two pairs, but you know, like we've got a lot of deuces.
So there is a lot more like, yeah. The two pair density is a lot higher from the button, right?
Yeah.
Also, the button has straight. So better, I guess, not advantage from the button. Range is a little bit more strong, I guess. Also, like from EP, there's such a big part of our range that is just like we're not hitting, right?
Yeah. The same with the big blind, right? He's not hitting a lot either.
Well, it's kind of, I feel like it's easy for the big blind to defend here. Like all the flush cards, all the straight connectivity, many pairs with redraws. I feel like it's gonna be very easy for a big blind to defend.
But he misses us a lot. Is that what allows us to range bet?
Well, it's not a range bet, right? 50, almost 40% check. So we're
Oh
betting,
yeah, okay.
we're betting more often, but I mean, like,
Okay.
so big strategic difference on this texture, right? We're actually betting more from the button than we would from EP. So interesting. Let's see another board. Eight eye. So eight, four deuce with a flush draw. Eight, four deuce with a flush draw. So let's see from EP first. Again, EP close to range bet. Pot size here. Just want to pot size quite a lot here. Right? With, I mean, pocket nines, pocket 10, pocket jack. Just pot it. But also pot like top pair, top kicker makes sense. And then you have those like wheel. Probably get better aces to fold. Betting pretty big. And then the strategy from the button, vastly different, a lot more checking. And then let's see the low jack. So from the button, oh, look at this. So the strategy actually shift from big bet to over bet on the button. So very interesting, huh? Over bet more the later our position is. Oh, over betting at 10-3 of hearts here feels very ambitious. As well as the 10-3 of
Yep.
clubs here. So a lot of very ambitious over bets, which I think is very interesting. Let's see the low jack. The low jack. So eight, what was it? 8-5 deuce? 8-4 deuce? 8-4 deuce. So EP. Oh, just two positions later. Look at that. Our checking range doubles. And then our overbet quadruples. So more checking and more polar the later our position is. But Oh no, we even overbet more. So see, that's a little bit of a thing I kind of noticed, like the low jack very often is gonna bet bigger than EP and bigger than late position. Right? On many different textures, we're just more polar from those middle seats. Right? And then, yeah, let's see another texture. Let's see Rainbow Queen High. So from EP, Queen 5 deuce. On LP, MP, Queen 5 deuce, and then the button. Queen 5 deuce. So from EP, ooh, here. We put it like this. So range betting from under the gun on Queen Eye Rainbow. And then a little bit of pot size, but overall just small bets. So range bet. Range bet. Again, from the low jack to the big difference that now we use over betting. Right? And then, surprise, the button is actually checking back half of the heart. And then the button is never using those pot size over bets, rarely even using 60%, only just small. So big strategic difference when it comes to Queen 5 deuce, right? Go from range betting, kind of using big boards, polarizing even more, to checking and small sizes. So strategy is wildly different here. And if we look at King 9 deuce with a flush draw. King 9 deuce. King 9 deuce. King.
That should be range bet.
So checking 20% from EP. So
Wow.
well, the thing is, Mike, you got a flush draw here, right? So you don't want to start betting all your clubs, right? And then you don't want to start betting all of your nines, right? And then you have hands like pocket 6, pocket 7 that don't have a card of the suit, like they don't really like want to bet so much, right?
Is it to
So,
do also with our because we've got 100 big blinds? We don't want to start smashing in our, stack as well?
definitely.
Okay.
And then from low jack, 20% check, 20% check, very similar strategy. But now we're using pot size even more. Overall, 20% check. Just polarizing a little bit more often, and then, surprise. The button is actually range betting small. So we go from polar strategy, kind of mixing all sizes, checking, perfect balance, to, I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna range bet small here. So again, the strategy changes a lot based on the texture. See another one. Oh, Jack 10-3, rainbow. Jack 10-3. Jack 10-3.
I guess my problem is poker is just such a complex game in general.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not trying to justify what I'm doing is like correct or anything like that. I'm far from it, but I'm just giving my my thoughts. Is I want to simplify things as much as I can because, as you know, we're not robots, we're not AI, we're not GTO Wizard. We're not going to remember everything, and all that. So, like when I see like certain board textures when I'm playing tournaments, I just really try to make it really simple for myself, so I'm not overcomplicating it and making it difficult for myself. And
Yeah,
maybe
but
that's a bad leak for me.
well, like it's not optimal to over simplify for every spot, but there's definitely
Sure.
spots where it is better, right? To just like, but that's why we're here today to learn the differences and how our strategy changes based on those the positions and the textures and try to play a little bit closer to optimal sometimes on both.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get it. No, obviously that's why we're here. But yeah,
I'm
I was
honestly,
just sort of, yeah.
I'm with you, Mike. Many of those, I'm just like, I'm gonna like, I have 20 tables in front of me, and I'm probably just gonna range bet, right? And
Yeah.
clear mistake. So
Yeah.
you're gonna gain EV by like, there's a lot of people that say you shouldn't use a mixed strategy on the flop, and I'm not sure if this is like, we're no longer in 2015 here, okay?
Yeah.
Poker has evolved. Like people are playing better and better, and then you need kind of a like betting big. Uh, like you can have two sizes on a flop, even three. I think it's very easy. You just kind of need to figure out like how to
Yeah.
construct the strategy. So Jack 10-3
Sure.
range bet. A lot of pot, right? A lot of pot size from the low Jack range bet. A lot of pot size, so similar strategy, right? Very, very similar. And then from the button, range bet, but now small or over bet. Very funny, right? So range bet big, range bet small. So very interesting kind of spot. Ace, Jack, 3 with a flush draw. Let's have a look. Ace, Jack, 3. No. Ace, Jack, 3. So let's see. From AP, checking 35%. Never betting small. So size up or check. Very polar strategy. Like you're supposed to be potting it. People don't do that. Or at least I'm not used to seeing that very much. So pot on the flop from the EP. From MP. So we go from 35% checking to 45%, 10% more checks. A little bit. So what is it? Okay. Okay, so EP is also using this 150% pot. MP checking more, less polar here. So we're actually less polar on this texture than we were on all. We've seen in many scenarios where the low jack was more polar. And then
Louis, if that's Ace Jack 3 rainbow, does the under the gun range bet more or bet more?
I'd say no, Andy, because we're too deep and there's such a big portion of our range. Like pocket king doesn't want to bet, right, on ace jack 3 rainbow. And then your worst jacks don't want to really bet, right? So probably not a range bet on ace jack 3 rainbow, but that we're gonna verify. So from the button, we go from like 35% checking, 45% checking. No more checking. We're just gonna range bet small. And kings are good enough here most of the time. Let's just range bet and so again, a very, very different strategy, right? Then let's have a look. How does it change if it's rainbow? So rainbow, more betting, right? a lot more betting, so I'd
Mhm.
say maybe your assumption is not bad, Andy.
Yeah,
So more
okay.
more polar as well, right? What about MP? Checking a lot
Mhm.
more, but then over betting more as well, and like more polar of a strategy, no real small bet, a little bit, but it's a bit of a thing. And then from the button, range bet small, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's see another texture. Um, Jack 6-4. Oh, that's gonna be tricky. So looking at
So,
those, I kind of realized that Jack high boards and Queen high boards are a class apart from like a dry ace high board or a dry Queen high board. So say for example, Jack 6-4, we say. Jack 6-4. Like if you see like a dry Queen 5 deuce rainbow, the strategy from the three seats are kind of very similar. But the more dynamic the board gets, the more like it's gonna change, the more your strategy change based on your position. From what I've seen, this is kind of the pattern for now. So here, range bet, just small bets. Ah, no, that was 40% big bet. So betting a lot, right? And then from the low jack, still betting a lot, but now we use pot size a little bit more, twice more often. And then,
Mm.
yeah, using small size a little bit more with the rest of the range. And then, surprise, the button is not range betting at all this time. Right? This strategy is not very polar, right? So what we used to see is like a lot of pots, a lot of overbet. And then on those boards where EP is potting or overbetting, we seen that the button strategy was to range bet small. Now, on those spots where EP strategy is just to bet small or like not polarizing so much, button strategy is actually to check back. So, good to see. Let's see another board. King 10-4. Yeah, gonna be good.
hey, Louis, see how EP and low jack on the Jack 6-4 board? Um, is it the reason why we can bet from EP and low jack, like bigger bets in a way? Is it because our equities run close based on the big blind's defending range? Because he's defending like, from offsuit tens and things like that. Is that what allows it to bet bigger?
I think it's more a question of range composition again. We're just tighter, we have great boards coverage, and then a lot of the range composition is a really, really strong hand that want to get value. So the bluff kind of want to, get in this bucket of equity, right? So it's like just a tighter, stronger linear range that wants to get paid.
Okay.
So King 10-4, polarizing, a lot of pot size, right? And then some checking. And then we're guessing that the low jack is gonna polarize even more. Oops, did I close it? Or what did I do? Yeah, I think I closed it. Okay, so here this is EP. Let's look at the low jack, maybe. Okay, let's look at the button. So we see that again, kind of a pattern, right? When EP is polarizing, the button is actually range betting. Let's see the low jack though. The low jack, the big line, and then what do you have? King 10-6, King 10-4. So low jack, polar strategy, polar range bet. Huh. EP checks 15%. Low jack doesn't check. Button doesn't check so much. Right, so we have a funny. Actually check more from EP than we would in any other positions. All right, let's see another board. I want to see. Okay. Queen 7-7. Queen.
Man,
seven.
I feel like I've just been playing poker all wrong today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Honestly,
Same question here, brother. Trust me.
I
Same.
think I'm going to take Arturo's advice in the message. He told us to quit poker. I think I might listen to him.
Not that one. No,
It's,
I'm not
it's
quitting.
funny because this is honestly, okay, the first time in all of the history of the study session where Arturas mostly had right answers. So I wouldn't,
What a troll.
I wouldn't worry about that too much. How you like it, Arturas? Arturas, when he joined our community, he burned me a few times, and I told him, Arturas, I'm not sure you're gonna like what's coming for you. So let's see, Queen 7-7, right? A lot of checking from EP, right? And then no polarization, right? Pair board. Very similar strategy, but a little bit less checking from the low jack, and then the later our position get, the more we get to kind of bet more often, right? On those paired 7 type of texture. So we can respect like, because I guess it has to do with the, okay. So we're gonna change this actually. We're gonna look at Queen 6-6. Because I think Queen 6-6 is gonna be very different. Because the button is not gonna have any 6s in the offsuit. Whereas now he's just like, with all those 7s here, he's just a little bit too disrespectful to my taste. So Queen 6-6, 60% check, 60% check, only the small bet. And then 50-50 here. Right, so there's a lot of those texture, like whenever like a good, like a key card for the big blind is paired, the strategy is to check a lot. When there's like 3 key cards, the strategy is going to be to check a lot. Right, that's another texture. Is there a texture you guys want to see?
It would monotone maybe, Louis.
Okay,
See how that changes it from the EP, especially.
so EP check 60%,
Oh yeah. Mhm.
check 60% from MP, and then the button is just like, yeah, we're gonna bet a little bit here. Bet a little bit more often than we would in other positions, right? And
Is it
then
because we got
let's
more
see-
flush draws?
Yeah. Has
Yeah.
the flush a lot more often, right? Let's see if it was a 10-eye mono board. Think it, because the fact that the ace is on the board is a huge factor on monotone boards, right? Because if the ace is
Yeah.
on the board, it can't be in your hand. But if it's not on the board, it could be in your hand, and then strategy changes a lot. So 35% checking, a lot of small bets. 25% checking, even more small bets. 15% checking, starts to use big bets.
Mm.
Monotone. So again here, strategy is very, very different based on your position.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see another one. Okay. I think this is gonna be a very, like, if we go like 7, 6, 5, I feel like 7, 6, 5 rainbow. And that's like the number one checking spot, right? For all the positions. So I feel like the strategy should be similar. 50% check, only small bets. 50%. Ooh. Okay. Well, I guess I'm wrong again. So I thought like EP and MP would have like a similar strategy, check a lot. Then it's betting big when it bets, right? Whereas not really betting big from under the gun, mostly just betting small. So kind of the same checking frequency, but we use big size more often from the low jack, and then from the button, we only use big sizes. So a lot of those are surprising even to me. Like I'm expecting like changes in strategy, and then I'm getting changes in strategy, but it's not what I expect. So more big bets from the late position. My guess was that we'd bet more frequently, but small bets. So surprise, big bets. Very interesting. All right, on this, we're gonna wrap it up for our YouTube segment. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and everything. And we're gonna move on to the second part of the show. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good one.